Mike Huckabee. Okay, I'll just start with some of the things about him that I don't like. Yes. First of all, in one of the debates, they asked him what to do about the issue with the Kurds in Turkey. This was when Turkey had all its tanks ready to go into northern Iraq, and the Kurds had some terrorist factions within them that were causing problems in Turkey.
Yep.
And so then one of the questions in one of the Republican debates was, what would you do about that? And some of the politicians said, well, I'll do this, whatever, and I'll talk to Turkey, I'll talk to the Kurds and make everybody happy. You know, just the typical whatever answers. And Huckabee said he would give weapons to the Kurds. Just give a bunch of weapons, so that way they can root out the terrorists within themselves. And I thought to myself, you've got to be kidding me. You give those people the weapons, all they're going to do is those weapons are going to wind up, and they're going to end up being used against Turkey, our ally in the Middle East. So on his foreign, I don't think.
Is he Bush-like in his foreign policy? Is that what we're saying here?
No.
Like when he was running for office, he didn't know anything about foreign policy things at all. Like they asked him about places in the world, he couldn't answer. Yeah, he probably didn't even know that there were places. I mean, you know,
we're talking about Huckabee, we're not talking about Bush.
What I'm saying, I mean, are you saying that he comes off similar to what Bush did in 2000, where he doesn't know what he's talking about? He doesn't know about foreign policy issues because he's too stuck on the domestic.
No, it's not that he's stuck on the domestic. It's just that he thinks he doesn't really have a lot of experience with foreign policy stuff. He doesn't.
Okay, he's like Bush. Okay.
So we've got that. And one, he's really evangelical. I mean, that's really the thing. The only reason he won Iowa was from all the evangelical preachers said vote for this guy, and so they said okay, and they went and voted for him.
There's no problem with voting for somebody because you agree with ideas, but you probably shouldn't vote for somebody because of religious reasons. It should be because you agree with them on issues, right?
Okay, and then he has his little fair tax thing, which that's going to suck for a lot of rich people because they're going to have to pay more taxes.
Poor rich people paying more taxes.
For the poor people, it's going to be okay, but it will do this. It will, because it basically you get a tax prebase. So if you're making, everybody gets, I don't know, 12 grand or 30 grand, whatever it is. Everybody gets that every month ahead of time. So they don't have, so that way they can go buy stuff, and they've already gotten the money back from the taxes, as if it's like it's a prebate thing to make it so that because everything is taxed at a standard rate, the poor people don't have to pay that, so they have a minimum that they give out.
Here's a question,
which is going to create basically a lot of people are going to figure out how to live just underneath that $12,000 or $30,000 limit, whatever it is. They're just going to figure out how to live underneath that, so they're not going to work, and then ta-da! We have a bunch of people that are just not. I'm not done yet.
Well, it's confusing me because there's really big issues with this.
No. And another part of his fair tax thing is when we do the fair tax, he said we're not going to tax any corporations, and so we're not going to do that. So all of a sudden, all these corporations are going to move back into the U.S. and we're going to magically create a bunch of new jobs. So his fair tax idea is the idea of saying we're going to do this, and then everybody else is magically going to do this too, because we did this, and this is all going to happen. The
return of voodoo economics, is that what we're talking about here?
I don't know. Oh yeah, and another thing about Huckabee is he goes on TV and he says, "This is a really negative ad, but I'm not going to air it. I'm just going to show it to you."
Awesome, good flag.
And then, so basically, he's like, what probably happened is we have this awesome negative ad, but we don't have enough money to put it on the air. I got a great idea. We'll just show it to the press and say it's so negative, we're not going to air it. I'm joking about that part, but that's more or less what he did. And he goes around saying things like, "Don't Mormons believe Jesus and Satan are brothers?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't say that, but I just heard it, and so I'm just repeating it on national TV, hoping other people might hear it too, and then they can think they don't like Mitt Romney."
But it's all how you do it, right? That's how politics.
The one thing I do like about Huckabee is he's very personable and he's very charismatic. Other than that, I don't trust the guy. Now, you want to say something about the fair tax?
Well,
everything else I said.
It was interesting because we're talking about the fair tax, and one of the things that Mike Huckabee said in the Republican debate in Florida this week was that, well, it'll eliminate the IRS. We all want to eliminate it. Well, how will it eliminate the IRS? Who's going to collect the money? And secondly, if we're getting a rebate check of say $3,500 a month for taxes,
$3,500 a month,
or whatever it was, or whatever it was, like, who's gonna do that? some agency that no longer exists because you got rid of it.
Homeland Security does that.
Oh, so Homeland. So basically, we're taking the IRS and putting it into another agency. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
That's kind of what they do with
here.
Homeland Security, anyway.
I mean, it's silly. We're talking about getting rid of an agency that has expertise with taxes, with collection and
experts
taxes and all that.
Are you saying they're experts at taking money from people?
If you want to call it that, yeah, sure. I mean, whatever you want to call it.
Go ahead and say anything.
But the point is it's not realistic. That every time I hear someone talking about completely revamping the system and getting rid of the IRS, what are they going to do? You can't just say, I'm going to get rid of the agency that collects the money that runs how we get the money to distribute it to the different departments and then gives it to our government who decides how we're going to spend it. No, you have to have some agency there, and I think it's totally unrealistic for any realistic
well, you can still have the IRS there, but it's just not going to be gone. It'll just be
fine. You should say that, but nobody says that, especially the Republican side. They all say, the IRS is bad, let's get rid of it, and that to me is silly. Like, well, you have to have some agency
they're saying that for votes. You'll be like, I don't want to pay taxes.
Right, get rid of. But you know what? Any intelligent-minded human being will go, wait a second. How are we going to do it then? Who's going to collect it? Who's going to distribute it? You can't just say we're. And if you're thinking about it, it's going to be distributed to another department.
The Department of Treasury, because they're the ones that are.
Okay, sure, fine, but
they're the ones that are giving us.
But then that department gets bigger, and then that becomes the bad guy.
Yeah, but
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what agency how you want to call it, or what guise it's under. The IRS may not be the Internal Revenue Service. It could be the Treasury Department. It could be Homeland Security. It could be the Education Department.
Okay,
whatever it is, it's just
Hubcabee's campaign is almost bankrupt, anyways.
Well, that's his. That's his money. That's
because I think Huckabee was a Trump. I think he was trumped up. I don't think he ever really had the support. I think he was trumped up to basically. If I say what I was going to say, I'm going to sound like a conspiracy nut. But I think he was trumped up because the GOP hates Ron Paul.
Okay, for all the Ron Paul fans, you can say that. Cause
I do. I think he was.
We get a lot of support from those great Ron Paul fans.
I think he would.
I don't think there's anything.
Look at his campaign. There's nothing there.
I think it has to do with the conservatives looking for a socially conservative candidate that's charismatic, that they could put their support behind. So they put it behind him, and then they found out, wait a second, he's only socially conservative. He's kind of moderate to liberal on these other things, and so that's when he started losing support. If he had been a conservative as a governor in Arkansas, he might actually be doing better than he's doing right now. But that's the problem. One of our previous videos, we talked about the three-legged stool that the Republican Party is based on winning national elections, and each candidate has one of those, but none has. Maybe some might have two, but none have three. And so he's got the socially conservative part of it, but that's about it right now. And that's why he's lost support. It has nothing to do with any kind of conspiracy, not logically.